All right, a 7-sided figure we call a heptagon. All right, 7 minus 2, that's 5. 5 times 180 gives me 900 degrees for the total on the inside. 900 divided by 7. Now in this case, you may notice when you do this in your calculator, we do not get a whole number. It's 128.5714, etc., etc. We need to keep that to one decimal place. So we're going to call that 128.6. Okay, 128.6. So then our exterior angle would be 180 minus that, which would be 51.4. All right, 8-sided figure, that's an octagon. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 times 180 is 1,080. And if we divide 1,080 by 8, we get 135 on the inside. 180 minus that, 45 on the outside. All right, for your 9-sided figure, that's a non-agon. So kind of sounds like 9, but not technically. So 9-sided is a non-agon. 9 minus 2, that's 7. 7 times 180 is 1260. 1260 divided by 9 is 140 degrees. So 40 degrees on the outside. And then our last kind of major shape is a 10-sided figure, which is a decagon. All right, so 10 sides, decagon. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 times 180 is 1440. 1440 divided by 10 equal angles is 144. And then 180 minus 144 is 36 degrees on the outside. So now I'm not necessarily looking for us to have memorized that a decagon has a sum of 1440 or a nonagon has a sum of 1260. But what we do need to have memorized is how we get to that sum. The n minus 2 times 180. We need to be able to do that for any shape. And then we need to be able to take that sum and divide it by n to get the angle on the inside, the one singular interior angle, provided that it's regular. Okay. Now, one thing I also want to draw your attention to, if we flash back to kind of some of the smaller numbers, is let's talk about a quick way that you could find the angle on the outside. Okay. All right, in this case, we happen to draw the exterior angle at the bottom right, but we could have also extended this side and called this 120, or we could have extended this side and called this 120. And if we notice, if we were to go back and add 120 plus 120 plus 120 and add all of the exterior angles together, we should get a total of 360. Similarly, if we took the 90 plus another 90 plus another 90 plus another 90, 90 times 4 is also a total of 360. So if you were to, let's just jot this down somewhere at the bottom. If you were to sum all of the exterior angles together, then we should get a total of 360. Okay? So then a quick way that I could find one exterior angle without going through this entire process to get here is you could just take 360 degrees and you could divide it by how many sides you have. So for instance, if you look back at like the 6-sided figure, if you did 360 divided by 6, you would get 60. Or if we did 360 divided by 7, we would get 51.4, okay? So you can obviously get to the exterior angle by going through this process and then finding it, but the quicker way would be to just take 360 divided by how many sides you have, okay? All right, so let's do a few practice, and then I might leave a few for you to do, and then obviously when we get done, you've got time to knock out your homework for day 3. So for instance, in number 1, if they want us to find the measure of x, the first thing I should notice is how many sides we have. We have a 5-sided figure, so the total for a 5-sided figure, remember, is 5 minus 2, that's 3. 3 times 180 is 540 degrees. So now it doesn't matter that it's not regular in this case, the total is still 540 regardless. So if we already know that we have an angle that's 100 and 135 and 123 and 90, don't forget about that in the corner, then we should just subtract all of the angles we currently see and get that that missing angle would have to be 92. Okay. All right, now 2, a little bit trickier because notice you've got some angles that are on the inside of the shape and some that are on the outside. So my suggestion would be to take the angles on the inside and see if you could kind of find their supplement. So for instance, notice that 50 degrees would make a linear pair with the angle right here next to 50. So if 50 is on the outside, if I did 180 minus 50, that would give me 130 degrees right here in this little corner. All right. Similarly, if 37 degrees is here, then the angle right next to 37 should make 180 degrees with it. So 180 minus 37 would give me 143 in that tiny corner. All right. Down here at the bottom, if this angle is 42, if we make that linear pair, then 180 minus 42 would give me 138 right here next to that angle. Now at this point, you know all of the angles on the inside of the shape. That's what we want to work with, okay? So back up to the top, we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So if I do 6 minus 2 times 180 degrees, that's a total of 720. All right, so what we have here is we have 130 plus 143 plus 5x plus 138. We just got to total them all up. 7x minus 1 plus 3x plus 40. If we were to put all of that together, we would get 720. Everything on the inside of the shape. All right, from there we just need to combine our like terms. So if we did 130 plus 143 plus 138 minus 1 plus 40, that's 441 plus 5x plus 7x plus 3x, that's 15. And then from there, we're just solving the equation. So minus our 441, 279. Did I miss something somewhere? Hang on, let's back up. All right, 143.30. Y'all find my mistake. Oh, that's 450. My bad. Thank you, thank you. Pause, pretend I didn't do that, okay? So now if we scratch 450, that's 270. Now we got 18. Forgive me for that, okay? All right, so in this case, x would equal 18. They wanted me to find x. Now we're done, okay? All right. So now for 3, one thing to notice here are those markings, congruent, 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 okay? Now, they may not look like they are in this case because this angle looks like it's obtuse. These look acute, but we're basing on what the picture says. If we see mark, 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 we're assuming that all of those angles are going to add up to be 360, and we're assuming that all of them are the same, okay? All right, so inside the 4-sided figure, my total is 4 minus 2 times 180. That's 360. So if I already have 144, then if we take that out, we're left with 216 degrees. And if we divide 216 by 3, then each of those angles is going to be 72. Again, I realize that angle B doesn't look like it's 72, but this is what we're going with because the picture says congruent, congruent, congruent for all those marks. Okay? All right, now, if what they want us to find is angle ABC, then we actually need the supplement of 72. So 180 minus 72, then angle ABC right next to that would be 108. All right. Now for one like 4, I'm going to skip and let you do. So think about what the total would be based on the number of sides. Also think about just like how we did for 3. These angles that are on the outside, we need to figure out how we can get inside the shape to work with. Then think about your total. All right, so you can do 4. All right, now for 6, notice that you don't know any of the angles on the inside. And it's pretty difficult to get inside because none of these angles are just constants. All of these are expressions. They've all got x's that belong with them. So in this case, it's actually easier not to focus on the inside, but to think about the outside. So remember, for any shape, regardless of the number of sides, if I were to put all of the exterior angles together, my sum on the outside should be 360 degrees. So the exterior sum is 360. So in this case, what I would do is I would add every angle that we see on the outside, total it up to 360. And I'm going to leave that one for you to do as well. Okay? All right, now for 7, similarly, I think you could do this one very easily. Think about how many sides you have and what your total should be. We should already recognize that you have 90 and 90. And then the other 4 angles, we should see markings that indicate congruency. So think about how you would work through that, and think about how you would work yourself out to find x. All right, so for 8 then, let's look at this one together. So they want you to find the value of the variables, and we've got 3 different sets of variables. All right, notice on the inside, we see markings that indicate all of the angles are congruent. So this would be a regular shape. It's a 5-sided figure, so my total is 540 degrees. 5 minus 2 times 180. If we take that 540 and we divide it evenly by 5, then each angle is 108. So 108, 108, all the way around. Okay? All right, so now we got to work with the outside. So hopefully, again, we're recognizing linear pair, we recognize linear pair, and linear pair. So in this case, 3x plus 108 should equal 180. At the top, 108 plus 8y should equal 180. And then down at the bottom, 108 plus 10z minus 8 should also equal 180. And then you can finish all those out because at this point they're just like multi-step equations. Okay, so finish working out, find x, y, z, and then let's look at 9. Okay, find the measure of the exterior angle that's formed by a regular hexagon and a regular quadrilateral. So now this one we kind of need to break into parts. So first let's look at the square. All right, a square is a regular 4-sided figure that has a sum of 360 degrees on the inside. And if we divide that 360 by 4, then each of the angles on the inside is 90. And again, we should already see that from the one right angle that they gave us. All right, inside the hexagon, a 6-sided figure has a sum of 720. And if it's regular, 720 divided by 6 means that each of the angles on the inside is 120. Okay. All right, so now when we go to talk about finding angle X on the exterior that's been joined between the two, imagine if we were to extend this side. Okay, we're going to break that exterior angle into two pieces. All right, at the top half, this exterior angle should be 90 degrees because if we're exterior from a square, if this angle is 90, this angle is also 90. All right. Now in the bottom half, if the interior is 120, then its linear pair would be 180 minus 120, which would be 60. So together, the entire exterior angle would be 90 plus 60, which would be 150 degrees total. Okay? So you kind of just have to break it apart into like the two shapes and then sum it together to get the total exterior angle that's represented by X. Okay? All right, last one, and then I'm going to let you go to practice. So if we're looking at 10, what is the measure of one interior angle in a regular polygon with 20 sides? So let's just break and look at that first part of the question first. So if we know we have a regular polygon with 20 sides, they want to know what the measure of one single angle is on the inside. So the first thing we do is we say if my n is 20, then we need to do 20 minus 2 times 180 degrees and get the total. So 18 times 180, that means all together the interior sum is 3,240. And if I know that it's regular, then I can take that 3,240 and I can divide it by 20 to get that each interior angle would be 162 degrees. All right. Part B of that question. What is the sum of all of the exterior angles in the same polygon? It doesn't even matter what polygon we're dealing with. Remember, in any case, the sum of the exterior angles should always be 360 degrees. Okay. All right, so if we're just quick recapping, an interior angle sum, we take the number of sides minus 2, we multiply that by 180. If we only want one angle on the inside, we take that total and we divide it by n. But remember, we can only do that if we know for sure that the shape is regular. The exterior angle sum is 360 degrees always, regardless of the shape and regardless of whether it's regular or not. If we only want one interior angle, take 360 and divide it by the number of sides. But again, only if we know for sure that the shape is regular. Okay? All right, so you need to go back then and finish the 3 that I left. So do 7 and 6, 4, make sure we finished working out number 8. And then for your homework tonight, you've got day 3 homework. So you're just kind of classifying convex or concave and then naming them based on their sides. And then you've kind of got a few for each section of like what would be the sum of the angles, what's one of the angles, etc. Okay? If you've got any questions, feel free to shoot me a message through Schoology or through Remind 101. Otherwise, we'll just clear up any questions we've got tomorrow in class.